Welcome to Driving with Dara, the podcast where we explore narcissism and its effects on society, humanity, and people like you and me. And I was just sitting here thinking, oh my gosh, I'm a thinker. I hope I'm not an overthinker. I might be an overthinker, but I think there's definite benefits to thinking and overthinking, as long as you're not freakishly obsessive, and I don't feel like that's the case. But remember that if you've ever read the Bible and parts of the Bible and stuff, there's a part that talks about how Jesus says, if you're lukewarm, I will spew you out of my mouth. And I was just sitting here thinking about that. I don't know, that just came to me in conjunction with thoughts of a narcissist, or the narcissist. So you know how a narcissist really can't ever seem to make his mind up about you. Can't really feel like, do I care about you? Do I not care about you? Do I have feelings for you? Do you matter to me? Yada, yada, yada. Well, it just occurred to me that is probably exactly what Jesus was talking about. And this was, I think, in a dream that Paul had in Revelations or something. So clearly I'm not like a Bible student, but I do recall a lot of this, and it does come together for me. I have been a student of the Bible, but not to the extent that a lot of people are. And so, thinking about this, oh my gosh, this really hits home for me, because I used to think, about the whole God thing. I'm like, how can you not be lukewarm? We don't know everything. We haven't gone through all the experiences we need to get through to be who we are or who we're going to be. And so how can you not be lukewarm? And what does not being lukewarm look like? To me, not being lukewarm, people who try to not appear to be lukewarm are a little frenzied and fearful because they don't want to look lukewarm. They don't want to be lukewarm and all of that stuff. And so it's like, well, what does that not being lukewarm look like? It looks like frenzy. It looks like fear. It looks like people who say, praise the Lord, one too many times in an hour. And again, I think that's fear-based. I think that's what that is. But, so what does not being lukewarm look like? I think it looks like that. I think it looks like frenzy. I think it looks like fear. But what does lukewarm look like? Lukewarm looks a lot like a narcissist who kind of likes you, kind of doesn't, kind of has a use for you, but kind of doesn't. You know what I mean? It's like, I think you're okay. I like you today, but I'm going to like someone else tomorrow. And when you look at it, that lukewarmness in that perspective, I don't know about you, it pisses me off. And so I'm like, okay, God, I get it. Lukewarm. Yes. I get that verse now. And, it's not so much the not appearing to be on fire for God, because again, that can be fear-based, and it can even be really phony. And as a matter of fact, I think it is a lot of the time. It's probably less insulting that we are not in a frenzy, and more insulting that we act like that we act like little narcissists with God, where it's like, well, I can take you or leave you today, God. Just like the narcissist does with you and me, and how we do these disappearing acts and stuff like that. Now, I don't think any authentic person really does that whole disappearing act. But what I'm saying is that it really brings that whole verse about being lukewarm home, right? Because if there is nothing less than a lukewarm soul, than the narcissistic soul. At least with a lot of the applications, a lot of the people that we know, they like us, but they don't like, it's nauseating. And so I think maybe I was thinking about how, kind of thinking about this situation just makes me want to vomit, right? You just get to the point you're like, it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth, and it kind of makes you want to hurl. And that's probably where that whole remembrance of that verse came from, because Jesus said, I will spew you out of my mouth. And how cool is that? That, I'm like, oh, I just want to throw up. It really makes a lot of sense, that lukewarm, disgusting flavor of, I am not sure that you have any value. I am not sure that I am fond of you. I am not sure that I want you in my life. I am not sure. I mean, I think there's other better stuff that I could do today instead of being, in communion with you, or instead of being friends with you. And yeah, it's nauseating. And so I'm like, wow, that is a freaking awesome application of that verse. Because if you feel like me, if you're at the point where you're like, yeah, this is just pointless, conversation that I don't need anymore. You get that. You understand that whole, I'm ready to vomit you out of my mouth. I'm ready to spew you out of my life because you have no value for me. I mean, you may have value for other people, and that's great. But for me, you and me, we just don't work. And so I'm going to spew this whole situation from out my mouth and be done with it, And so, man, I get it. And I think for me, it's really kind of cool when these two kind of things click, the world of narcissism and the world of the Bible, they don't clash at all. They're really, I think honestly, the Bible is very much about narcissism, because narcissism is, I don't know, really, I'm thinking it's like the falling very short of the ideal. It's like even narcissists can't find or attain the ideal situation or relationship, so it's like, I don't know, that last part's a little bit confusing, and I might have to think that through, and it might just be something I'll pitch, but just the lukewarmness and how that really hits home, that I understand what lukewarm means in the context of how the narcissist really feels about me and you, like, I could take it or leave it. We're not really friends. This person doesn't have anything to offer. Ick. Anyway, that is it. This has been Driving with Dara, and I hope you have a wonderful everything, and I will just talk to you when I talk to you next. I hope you do something really amazing for yourself today, and take really good care of yourself, and really honor yourself and your presence on the planet as purposeful and meaningful and intentional and good. That's it. Shorty. Talk to you later. Bye.